household name with roles in The Office, Anchorman and 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Now he is back in Australia and back at Bricky Central.
I don't know what we're yelling about! No, Kelly Clarkson!
His characters can be brainless, unfortunate and usually endearing. Steve Carell pushes the limits of comedy with hilarious results.
You and I are going to make a statement together. Oscar is my friend.
I'd rather not.
And I just don't care who sees it.
He played awkward boss Michael Scott in The Office and has won millions of fans with his major movie roles.
Oh, God.
Now Steve's back in our country. Last night he walked the red carpet at the Australian premiere of his new animated comedy, Despicable Me 2. In the film, Steve voices a reformed supervillain named Gru.
Are you really gonna save the world?
That's right, baby! Gru's back in the game with cool cars, gadgets,
How are they working?
and weapons!
And Steve Carell is here. Good morning. Welcome back to Sunrise.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Despicable Me, the first movie, is one of the top 10 highest-grossing animated movies ever. Tell us how you came up with Gru's accent.
We spent a couple of days in the booth because nobody really knew what. It sort of evolved. The look of him evolved. He wasn't always sort of a P-shaped person with little spindly legs. So that had a number of different incarnations. But we just sort of played around with the voice, and we wanted something that sounded funny, but at the same time was slightly menacing and appealing to kids. So that voice kind of came out of nowhere eventually.
Do you love accents?
I love bad accents, and that is a truly bad accent. People ask me, how do you get into character? And I'm like, well, there really is no, it's so bad that there is no making a mistake with the accent. It's not like it's accurate to anything.
Yeah, because Kristen Wiig, your love interest,
Yes.
there's one very funny line for Australians where she does an Australian accent as well. Have you mastered the Australian accent?
Oh, you would not in a million years get me to do an Australian accent.
Why not?
Because it would be diggity-doo. Pretty good,
You
right?
just have to drag your vowels out.
Drag your vowels out.
There you go, you got it.
I got it.
10
Terrible.
out of 10.
Drag the vowels out.
You've been to Australia a few times. Is this your
I have,
favourite?
yeah. I love
is this
it
your
here.
favourite place in the world?
It is. I love it. It's the only place I would actually move to that I've visited.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
That is not a line. It's really true.
Why?
Because the people are so nice here. So sweet, so endearing, genuine, kind.
Okay.
Everything I'm not are the people here.
Oh, come on. Tell us about the beard. Is that for a movie or a midlife crisis?
It's midlife crisis. It's my sexier self. It's my sexier self coming out.
Is that right?
Now, don't you think? Right?
It's very hip
No?
now.
It is very hip.
Yeah.
And
Very
if
Ryan Gosling.
I grow the, it is, and I grow the beard, and I drag my balls out, and I'm the sexiest guy in town.
Listen, before we get to Anchorman, which is what we want to ask you about, but despite Despicable Me too, apart from that, we asked viewers to write in, because there's a lot of people who want to ask you a lot of questions out there. Justine wrote to Facebook and wants to know if your Crazy Stupid Love co-star Ryan Gosling smells as good as he looks. What does Ryan Gosling smell like?
He smells like fresh baked chocolate chip cookies.
I thought
all
he
the time.
would.
He's a fantastic smelling guy.
I
It's
imagined that.
Sweet and alluring, sensual, but approachable.
And tasty.
And tasty. He's a very tasty morsel.
He sure is.
What do you smell like?
I smell like a day-old bagel.
No. You smell like wool and leather.
Wool and leather, yes. I smell of wool and leather.
When you drag your bowels, you've got to smell like wool.
Dragging my bag.
Yeah, exactly right. Kate wants to know if it really hurt getting your chest waxed in the 40-year-old version.
It really hurt. If you watch that scene closely, you can see the blood pooling There it is. Yikes! And that one was actually really close to the nipple. And there was one thing they forgot to do is when you have your chest waxed, they're supposed to, not to be too graphic, they're supposed to put Vaseline on that area because otherwise you could pull that off. And
your nipple off?
That's happened before. Yeah,
really?
because the wax is so adhesive.
Right.
So they forgot. They overlooked that, and I had to actually call cut and said, "Could you please put Vaseline there, as to not lose that part of my anatomy."
That would be one of the most unusual requests in a movie. Would you please put Vaseline on my nipples?
Yes. Well, it's part of my rider. I ask it in every movie I'm in.
And do you really have a hairy chest that hairy?
Not anymore.
You work quite hairy. Steve, you've got 2 kids, 9 and 12.
Right.
So I imagine they're coming to that age where they watch your movies and they love them. Do they have a favourite movie?
They love the first Despicable Me. They can't wait for this. They're seeing this one on Saturday.
Right.
So yeah, they can't wait. I think it is their favorite movie.
Yeah. Are they at the age where you're an embarrassing dad?
A little bit. I like to, especially my daughter. She's 12 now, so I like to. At one point, I started dancing Gangnam Style in the supermarket with her, or for her, and she's a good sense of humor about it.
Go on, do it.
Yeah. Oh, me?
Do it.
And what does she say? What do the LA kids say?
What does an LA
days?
kid? Dad, come on.
Oh, so they're like Aussie kids.
Probably like Aussie kids. Yeah.
Now you've got to tell us about Anchorman 2. Have you actually finished filming it?
Finished about 3 weeks ago.
Happy?
It's going to be hysterical. Yeah, it's really going to be good. I think it might be funnier than the first one.
Really?
I think so.
Is that possible?
I think it might be. Yeah, it's really, really funny.
What's it like working on it? Is it as much fun behind the scenes as when the cameras are rolling?
It's more fun. That's part of the reason everybody did the second one, is that it was so much fun doing that first one, and those guys we're all such good friends. That, well, they just showed a clip of this teaser trailer we did. Yeah. We shot that before the movie had been written. We had no idea what the movie was about, but we all got together, shot that, and I think they were then obligated to do the movie.
How much of it? To me, in the movie theatre watching, you just sort of think a lot of it is probably, are you just sort of freewheeling? I mean, how much do you stick to the script?
You do the script as written at least a couple of times, but then a 2-page scene can turn into an 8-page scene like that. Because the director, Adam McKay, will sit in his director's chair with a microphone and just toss in suggestions, and you can either use his suggestion or repeat it, or use it to say something else in that vein. So there are a lot of really good improvisers, and Will is one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
He writes?
He and Adam McKay wrote it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it might be funnier.
Look, you do comedies, and you've done the romantic comedies with Tina Fey.
Right.
Do you see yourself as an action hero? Deep down, is there a James Bond side to Steve Carell that you'd love to show, a Bourne Identity?
See, now I hear a facetious quality to your voice.
No.
And I see, and now I think I've just become the butt of a joke here on your morning show, because clearly you're implying that I am not that type of actor and could never pull that off, even if I do drag my vowels.
You think you could? Would you love to?
Would I be up to an action movie? I would be up to it. I don't think anyone would be up to seeing it. I think, and there is a discrepancy between what you want to do and what people will want to see you do.
Right.
Because it is a little confronting to see when you do more serious roles.
Right.
I have to say, like even Little Miss Sunshine, it was a little bit.
It's more of a depressed guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It was.
Thanks.
You made it kind of funny.
You really dug yourself out of that, didn't you?
It's brilliant, but it is because we're so used to seeing you being so funny and so silly. And,
sometimes I did a movie with Meryl Streep and Tommy Lee Jones where I play a therapist called Hope Springs, and I think it took people a little bit of time to realize that my character wasn't wasn't there to be humorous. It wasn't really a funny character. It was there as a sounding board for these other two characters. So I think sometimes it takes a little while for people to adjust to, you know, what, like in Despicable Me 2, I'm very serious the entire time, and I think it'll take.
You can't even be serious saying that.
No, I know.
Exactly right.
But it does. I think you're right. I think you know, for people to make that tonal shift and to see any actor in sort of a different vein, I think it cuts both ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see a very dramatic actor doing comedy, and it's a little disconcerting at first until you get used to it.
Did you always see yourself in comedy?
No.
Even when you first started?
No, I actually didn't. Just the opposite. I sort of fell into it. I never thought that I was necessarily that funny, but they were the jobs I got hired to do mostly.
Yeah.
Over dramatic work.
And he was an ice hockey goalie as well, so he is tough. He's big, rough, tough, and you've still got your own
Again,
team.
I hear this facetious,
No!
ironic tone. No, I played soccer, and I played ice hockey, and I played lacrosse. Do you play lacrosse here?
No, we don't,
yeah,
but we know
it's
what
a
it
minor sport.
Minor
Yeah,
sport.
yeah, yeah.
I dabble in the minor sports.
Okay. well, it's
that's okay,
wonderful to have
because you've
you
got
back.
a pretty successful career off the field, so you're okay.
Yeah. No, hockey's not in my future as a career.
Steve Carell, it's so great to chat. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's very hot in
Come
here
back.
under the studio lights. Thank you for.
Thank you.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna-
geez, you're
I know.
sweating a lot.
Yeah.
Bit crook.
This Aussie
Sweating.
winter, it's not quite.
It's the wool and leather.
Now, Despicable